If you will remember, Chronicle and new Fantastic Four director Josh Trank was attached to direct the second Star Wars spin-off film scheduled for 2018. But he recently announced that he has left the project. Many people have speculated on the reasons why he left, but now in a new interview with the LA Times, Trank reasserts that he simply left to make smaller projects. Trank said the following: "I knew that this was going to be questioned and it was going to come under skepticism as to why I left Star Wars. And it was hard. It was the hardest decision I've ever had to make in my life. I want to do something original after this because I've been living under public scrutiny, as you've seen for the last 4 years of my life. And it's not healthy for me right now in my life. I want to do something that's below the radar." John, what do you make of Trank's comments?
Look, I'm going to tell you right now, right off the bat, when it was announced that he left, I was one of those guys, because the statement came out, yeah, I'm leaving to pursue other things. I was like, malarkey. Loads of malarkey. A quarter to you if you hear anybody else today use that word.
I haven't heard that before.
And I was like, no, something else is going on, something else is going on. But I read these comments and what he's saying, and I really think about them. And I'm going to tell you what, I've changed my mind. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid on this. When you really stop to think, this was a no-name guy who did this small budget little film with Chronicle. All of a sudden, he's a name. He enters into Fantastic Four, and look at the circus that has surrounded Fantastic Four. Like, so much hate for the film just to start with, because the other ones have sucked, granted, and all that kind of stuff. And then, every detail that's come out, everybody has just dogpiled on, which is the right of movie fans to do. And, then all these, as it turns out, false reports of him trashing hotels and blah, blah, and the stress that must put on you. And now he's already accepted, doing Star Wars, and he's looking around like, it's going to be Fantastic Four times 20. And you know what? If he just then decides, you know what? I loved making Chronicle. I want to go back to doing stuff like that right now. I got to tell you, I might be way off base, but at this point now, I've changed my mind. I actually believe him at this point. Alicia, you read these comments. What did you think?
Yeah, I completely respect him for this decision. It must have been really tough. Like you said, he is a huge Star Wars fan. This must have been a dream project for him. But I think it must be tough for directors on these big projects, like we saw with Edgar Wright, that you don't get much of a chance to have your own spin on things, because it's very much dictated by where the franchise needs to go, and it's a bigger thing than just the director. So I think it can be an internal struggle for people like Trank, who come from a smaller indie world, that they want to do something that they can put their mark on it, but at the same time they know they're holding themselves up to very public scrutiny, and people will trash them if it doesn't go well. I'm looking forward to seeing Fantastic Four. I hope it's good. I hope it redeems the series. And I want to see what Trank does next, what smaller film or original project he does next.
Yeah, and it should be pointed out too that also in the interview he was also mentioning that actually, you know what, he's still pretty tight with Kathleen Kennedy and the people at Lucasfilm too. So that's got to be figured into it. Anyway, Mark, you read the comments. What did you think?
Well, let's be honest, we're never going to know exactly what went down between Trank and the Jedi Council that is Kathleen Kennedy and everybody else over at Star Wars. Because yes, he left the project. Now look, I've left parties before. Sometimes I've been asked to leave. Sometimes I've left of my own volition. Either way, I technically left the party to go to a smaller party. So whether this was all his decision or
that's
all
his way
the
of
Star Wars
saying
decision,
girlfriends have dumped him and he left to be single again. That's another way of
that
saying
smaller
it.
party is my apartment or jail. It depends on what night it is.
Shame.
Either way with this guy, I think that you mentioned circus with Fantastic Four. I think Star Wars wanted nothing to do with a circus like that, with all the other stuff surrounding it, whether it was true, whether it was just false reports. It doesn't matter at the end of the day if you keep having this stuff come up. I don't think that they were thrilled about all the stuff that was going on behind the scenes. But with Trank, with these comments, I think it's great, even if it's just a face-saving measure, or it's true, if this is the kind of movies that he wants to make, smaller indie films, and they end up like Chronicle, I'm all for it.
Yeah.